Chandavian Bradley cruises out of Tennessee. He's going to go to a junior college. This was not one of the guys that Tennessee's recruiting fan base was most excited about. That would be reserved for like Nico, for instance. But he was on that second tier, I would argue, a 4-star prospect. And he's going to junior college, a very inauspicious departure for a guy that would have been better off to leave in January or then even after spring camp if he didn't think that he could get on the field. I'll give you a little insight as to why they didn't think he was a great fit. But first, Caleb, what's your impression of Bradley going to junior college in the middle of the summer?
So there are a lot of moving parts in play for this because Chandavian Bradley, we don't know exactly why he's transferred. He says it was not because of grades. He tweeted that out yesterday. It basically said there was just some other things he's got to work on. That's what he said. I don't know what that means. There could be family issues. We don't know.
I can tell you what that is in a second.
Okay. Tennessee fans, you're going to have to expect a lot of transfers among edge rushers over the next 2 years. And this would even be without the portal. They're loaded.
In and out?
Yeah, out. No, just out. Not in.
Okay, so you're not saying they're going to build their ends that way. Okay, gotcha.
No, they're going to lose a lot of edge rushers. It's kind of the same way where if you have a dynasty in football, you should expect to lose a lot of staff members.
Right? Well, now, wait, they're not going to have James Pierce after this year, right?
Dave, they're still insanely loaded. I don't know if you realize how loaded they are at edge rusher.
I think they're very good. I don't know that I'm worried about mass exodus of defensive ends leaving because of them.
Okay, there's only room for 2 edge rushers on the field in this system at a time. Okay, so after this year, you're talking after this year with James Pierce and probably Joshua Joseph starting on the other side is my guess. You have generational talent following it up with one, Emmanuel Okoye. If he's raw, but Dave, we've all heard that he's freakishly athletic, isn't he? Himself, Emmanuel Okoye?
Yes. Heard of that a lot about those guys before. That kind of scares me a little bit, to be real honest with you.
Then there's Caleb Herring. And then there's David Hobbs. And that's just on the roster now, okay? The 2025 class has 5 edge rushers committed, headlined by 5-star Jordan Ross, probably the best edge rusher in the 2025 class. And Tennessee has now added 4 edge rushers committed for, I'm sorry, 20 that was this class. Excuse me, guys. I spoke out of turn. The 2024 class, had 5 edge rushers that are already in the system, most notably blue chip Jordan Ross, who's a 5-star unanimously. The 2025 class already has 4 blue chip edge rushers, 2 of whom committed in June. My guess on the timing, if it's not anything personal, I think Chandavian Bradley, who didn't play last year, was already buried in the depth chart. If you're asking why didn't he transfer in December or the end of spring, he may have tried to give it another chance, knowing he wasn't going to play this year, but maybe he could work his way into the rotation in 2025. But with the 2 most recent edge rushers who committed in June, he probably had to say, that's it. I got to get out of here. This unit is just too loaded.
Why would he leave now? That's my biggest question. You could leave at another time and have more opportunity if you left in January or you left in the spring transfer portal, which is not a popular transfer portal, but at least you'd have more options then. I have a theory. Something happened, and it could be as simple as he lost his girlfriend or his girlfriend left him. Something either happened, but my most likely theory, he didn't put on the weight he needed to put on. And if you can't come in with all the food that they give you and all the support that they give you and put on weight, which he needed to do, if that's your only goal in year number 1, how's your goal in year number 2 going to be, in year number 3 going to be taking on a Georgia offensive lineman that's going to be playing in the NFL in 6 months?
Well, so you think Tennessee nudged him into the portal? Or nudged him away?
I think they had every reason to if he didn't put on 15 pounds, which is my understanding that he is not. 15 to 20 pounds is what they wanted year 1.
Okay, so the only thing that makes me a little skeptical of that is...
Or let me say this real quick. Or not nudged him, but maybe he said, man, I've dropped the ball. I didn't put on 15, 20 pounds. They're getting ready to open up camp August 31st. I'm not big enough. I don't want to get the heck beat out of me for an entire football season. Now, sure, maybe I'll go put on that weight next off season, but let me just go to this junior college where it'll be air quote easier. And it's not. It's harder in junior college because not everything's handed to you. But the players won't be as good, so I won't get the heck beat out of me. And then, well, I'll just go back to a school like Tennessee after 6 months in junior college. I guess that's what he's thinking.
That,
it's not a good mindset.
He could come back. His mother tweeted out, Chandavian Bradley's mom tweeted yesterday that, quote, she said, Tennessee has been great and we will definitely miss Rocky Top. We support the coaches and all the players. We will keep in touch with all the wonderful friends and fans that have come our way. Once of all, always of all, I will continue to sport my UT gear. It's a weird thing to say when your son just transferred out, right? And
Sounds like
Bradley gave him a thing.
I mean, your kid's too young to do anything wrong. But I can tell you that as a parent, when your kid does something wrong, you can say to yourself, that's his bad. And doesn't that sound like a mom saying, that's our bad? Forgive my son. If he ever gets an opportunity to come back, please don't hate him. Doesn't that sound like that? Which is
that's good parenting, isn't it? That is great parenting.
Yeah, my kids are not always right. I will tell you, yes. I've told you in a heartbeat how many times my kids have been wrong since you've known me. So, yes, I mean, that is good parenting.
Which bodes well for Chandavian Bradley long term if he gets back in health or gets to the football shape you say, because I remember a distinct Tennessee running back in 2016 whose parents were all over social media and I think maybe sabotaged his NFL career. I'll just say that, including his mother going on Twitter trashing the other running back playing for Tennessee at the time.
I think that the parenting of a college athlete is incredibly difficult, especially when people are asking you your opinion. You've never been asked your opinion anymore to that extent, and you tend to share it, and you can share too much very easily. She never shares too much, but she shares the information at no cost to you. That's Medicare Misty. She can take care of your Medicare needs, whether it's for you or that loved one that is at the age where they need some real options. Medicare Misty.
19 years this year. Well, I've been in the community since 1993. You're getting a lot of information. Unlike when you were working, they made the choice for you. Now you have to make the choice. Come to us and let us help you make it easy. Call Medicare Misty, MedicareMisty.com or 423-777-5577. Let us help them sleep at night.
And we call her Medicare Misty.
All right, so Tennessee, as far as a replacement for Chandavian Bradley, who is going to Hutchinson Community College, keep an eye on Brandon Caesar. He's not as highly rated, 28th best prospect in Ohio, but 6'4", 255 pounds, and Rodney Garner's all over him. So that's a name that I would look for. Could it fall in the next couple of days? Wouldn't completely stun me. He's considering Ohio State and West Virginia. It feels like one of those, Caleb, that's not a bad thing, but how bad does Ohio State want him? And then you know where Tennessee stands.
I think I think it feels like one of those, how am I ever going to get on the field if I go to Tennessee? I think I'm telling you guys, they're insanely deep at edge rusher. I don't want
that guy.
No, I get it, but I don't think Tennessee is going to. You talked about this. Peyton Manning didn't want to go to Florida partially because Danny Werfel was there because he was going to be a freshman and Werfel was a sophomore. This guy,
I didn't know the Werfel Florida thing, but I knew that he did not want to go to any school that had a player a year ahead of him. Quarterback's different though. Any player that says I'm afraid to come there because I may not play, I don't want him. I literally. Even if it's Arch Manning, the top prospect in the nation last year, if he said at Quinn Ewers, this guy is good, I don't think I can play. I don't want to compete with him. Can you give me a promise that I'll get 50% of the snaps or something like that in practice? that would be enough for me to say, you know, we're good. We're going to go with Quinn and the next guy, whoever that is.
Well, yeah, that's what Tennessee's going to do. But the thing is, no edge rusher is going to commit right now because, guys, after James Pierce, Jordan Ross is to James Pierce what George McIntyre is to Nico Iamaleava. Jordan Ross is going to be a generational edge rusher too. And
but
you're going to hear the same talk about wrapping him.
Right. And maybe where we differ is just how strongly I feel about it. Even if a guy says, how much can I expect to get on the field in year one? That's troublesome for me.
It's not about year one.
It shouldn't be. Yeah, I'm with you. It should be about how Rodney Garner can develop you. So if I've got a guy that is concerned like the Caesar guy about year one, then that's not. It's not
year one. It's that he may never get on the field his whole college career at Tennessee. I don't think you're appreciating how loaded they are at edge rusher.
No, I agree. But if he has doubt in his heart, then he's definitely not going to do it. Right? Would you agree with that? That's like having one less leg than everybody else. I mean, if you don't believe it in your heart, it ain't going to happen. So I don't want that guy is the point I'm making.
I think because Tennessee has 5 edge rushers committed for 2024 and another 4 for 2025, again, 5 in this class alone. If you commit for 2025, Dave, you've seen Josh Heupel do it. He goes by seniority. You're not going to start until you're a senior because Josh Heupel is going to prefer his older players. He does that. He's not going to accept that he missed on guys. So I think that you're going to start. I mean,
I think that changes. I think that changes too. Can I go there for a second? I think that what you've seen is Josh Heupel err on the side of veteran players because he's concerned about team chemistry. I think once the roster is loaded with talent, which it's getting that way, he doesn't have to worry about team chemistry winning him some games that he wouldn't otherwise win. I think he's just going to be, if you're not the most talented, you're not playing, period.
Okay.
Which is a philosophical change, but I think within the next year or two, he will make that change. Now, that being said, if it's 50-50, who are you going to play? You're going to play the more experienced guy. There's nothing wrong with that, right?
Yeah, Ty goes to. That's what the Lloyd Carr thought. Ty goes to the veteran.
And I don't hate that. You hate that?
No, I don't hate it either. Lloyd Carr, though, did cost himself a shot at a national title because he violated that rule one time, and that was with Drew Henson and Tom Brady. And Tom Brady and Drew Henson were. I actually think Tom Brady was better, but he didn't want to lose Drew Henson.
I've never heard that. What was the saying you used again?
What?
Ty goes to the veteran?
That was Lloyd Carr's philosophy at Michigan. Ty goes to the veteran.
I've never heard that. Don Self, State Farm, I've heard of him. Customer service still matters. And when you file that claim, you want to make sure that it gets paid and paid quickly. That's Don Self. For over 40 years, they have built their business on taking care of their customers in the greater Chattanooga area. 423-396-2126 or go to donself.net right below, donself.net right below. And everybody wants to save money, but when you make that claim, you want to make sure it's taken care of. So Caleb, scale of 1 to 10, how big of a loss is Chandavian Bradley?
1. And I say that as someone who actually thinks he can be very good somewhere else. I think Tennessee has become such a well-oiled machine at edge rusher. I don't think Alabama at their peak under Nick Saban was as deep at edge rusher as Tennessee is right now.
Wow. That's strong. All right. So you're telling me that you think James Pierce is better than Will Anderson?
Yes. Yes, I do. I do think he's better than Will Anderson. James Pierce, there's not a lineman in the country that could do to James Pierce what Darnell Wright did to Will Anderson.
I will say this about Will Anderson. I'm a big Will Anderson guy. And if you're out there, Alabama fan, weigh in. Will Anderson was done against Darnell Wright. He took the second half of that game off. He was good. You have taken my soul from me. I'm just going to manage to get through these 60 minutes of game time and have this damn game over with, is basically what he said.
Well, and there is a mentality thing with edge rushers that you have to wonder, because you're right, Dave. With edge rushers, you don't know when you're going to get the big play. And if you're taken out of the game early, you can maybe mentally shut down, right? As an edge rusher.
Yes.
And so James Pierce, we have to see if he can handle. It's like a receiver who doesn't get touches early in the game. They may take themselves out. because they just feel like they're not being impactful. That's why Tom Brady was, and he was so good at making sure his weapons got touches early, so they felt they were part of the flow and the motion of the game. And that was one advantage he had over Peyton. Peyton was just like, I'm taking the best matchup, period. Sorry, no feelings here. And yeah, so I agree. And that's maybe the next step to James Pierce's career. I just don't think there's anybody that can take him out of the game. All you can do is run away from him.
Yep. Smoky Mountain Red said it was anxiety. Yeah, he caught it from Urban Meyer. That's what it was.
Had a heart condition on the sideline.
Yes. Urban Meyer didn't have a heart condition.
I'm sure. That's the fakest.
Hit like and subscribe right now if you want to make sure that we show up in your feed. We greatly appreciate that. And Crystal, you're right. Will Anderson did get posterized by Darnell Wright. That one game in and of itself to have on your resume probably made Darnell Wright $10 million over the course of his career, because you go in, you get a better pick because of that game and the way you went against the best defensive end in college football. So you make extra money on that first contract. You've elevated yourself because you make more money. I mean, if you really went back and factored it, it would be impossible to do, but that made him absolute millions of dollars.